my IPA family? It's your boy L APA. You guys already know what we're here for, man. Trying to push these tales, experiences, by way of everything that I've been through, of course. And we're here for the youngsters, man, so they won't go into the prison system, the reoffenders as well, man. And as you guys could tell by the good old caption, that uña, that thumbnail, Sureños no good on Sea Yard, Pleasant Valley. So I told these stories before, man. When I was on B Yard in Pleasant Valley when I got there, man. Uh, well over 10 years ago now, about 11, 12 years ago, somewhere around that area. And we were at war with the Bulldogs. We were at war with the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs. For those of you that have not heard about the Bulldogs, for all the new subscribers, because I have had a few questions. I'll take this time to just briefly give you a quick little synopsis of the Bulldogs. The Fresno Bulldogs, man. I guess, obviously they started at a certain point. I don't want to go into the year and the history of them because I'm not an expert. But then they were F-14, meaning they were aligned with the northern faction. They broke off that faction because they were rebellious. They've always been rebellious, right? And then kind of sort of clicked up with the Sur. And even that, after that, broke off of that. And I want to say the early thousands, late 90s, somewhere around that area. And then always kept the same model, like we ain't gonna run nobody's program, and we're not gonna run under nobody's program, and nobody gonna run our program or dictate our program, right? And I respect that, man. I can respect that to a certain extent. But I just feel like the Bulldogs have always been belligerent, without needing to be belligerent. At a certain point, yeah, it's ain't nobody gonna run your program, and you ain't nobody gonna dictate things on you as a grown ass man. I understand that. I respect it, like I said. But there's been times, man, when these dudes didn't even need to be belligerent. Dudes weren't even trying to, they were oppressed for so long that even if one of the factions came to them respectfully with a proposition that made sense, they would still go against the grain. And it's just like, bro, like Sureños and Norteños have been enemies, mortal enemies, since damn near the beginning. But every time, for the sake of peace, either side, this is two of the most prideful, uh, uh, um, vicious, powerful groups, especially the Sud, right? Even either though even either of those factions have agreed on certain terms for the peace for a certain amount of time or indefinitely until they're kicked off again. But the Bulldogs is just they've been oppressed for so long that they go against the grain just for the sake of going against the grain. And at a certain point, bro, it's just like it's not diplomatic, bro. It's not even necessary. They got this chip on their shoulder where I feel like, man, if they bow down to anything, even something that makes common sense, they won't even disrespect their pride. They're gonna go against the grain just because of the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, 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 hell no, no, we're good. No, we're good. We're good. Like, they won't even want to hear it out. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, that's basically my opinion of them. But nobody could ever doubt that them dudes are with the business. They take care of business. Pleasant Valley was the only prison that I was with the Bulldogs with, or they weren't rushing dudes. They were waiting to get rushed. And to me, it's just like, if it's a matter of pride, homie, like, how are you not rushing cats? Other Bulldogs, like in Salinas, Wasco, Corcoran, they were playing that shit. They were rushing they were getting off as ASAP. ASAP. But Pleasant Valley, they weren't. Were they still defending themselves and getting down? Of course. Um, and obviously, I will point out that they were doing it to stay off lockdown because the aggressor was staying on lockdown. I don't care. Me as a man, honor bound and things like that, I don't give a fuck if we stay off lockdown or get on lockdown. I'm taking off on site. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the Bulldogs, us and the Northerners used to take turns back and forth. When I was in Pleasant Valley, we weren't beefing it with the Northerners, So we were going at it with the Bulldogs only, But like I said, they were waiting for us to rush them. So getting into what I'm talking about, Sea Yard. Sea Yard had Bulldogs as well, and they had camaradas as well. Um, they didn't have they were trying to put regular norteños, meaning like active norteños, on Sea Yard. but them cats were getting off. The only ones that were programming on C Yard, they were from up north, were the New Flowers. They were there. They were on C Yard. The Camaradas, when I got to B Yard, they were programming on C Yard with the Bulldogs, with everybody. And they were considered no good. Maybe not no good like they're a PC, but they had something coming for programming. Any single dude that came from C Yard and didn't come from C Yard because they got off on a Bulldog, like right away, they were getting removed. That business was being handled. So every single Sureño, man, around that time, it was around 2012, a late 11, 12, them cats, any Sureño on C Yard, and anybody else that was part of the faction, they weren't taking off on the Bulldogs. We were always taking off on the Bulldogs. It was on site, and a lot of dudes fell off because of that. A lot of the dudes fell off because of that. Dudes that understand and know what I'm talking about around those years know that, like I said, whoever landed from C Yard to B Yard, for whatever reason, there was dudes that got caught with for certain incidents, whatnot, ended up on B Yard, got removed ASAP. You know, the camaradas on B Yard, they were so tired of being on lockdown. The thorn on their side was dudes like me getting there from higher levels or from different prisons, and these dudes were always handling business, but they were trying to bend the rules when it came to on site. They were trying to get off lockdown, go to 3 draws, first, second, and third draw of store, and then taking off on the Bulldogs. When dudes like us got there, it's like, hey, we want store and everything, homie. But if word fucking reaches the homies and all that shit, then we're not handling business. Aside from the fact that if you got pride in the cause, we're gonna take off. It's on site, And there was a few Yaveros that were trying to say like, oh man, we're gonna go to store, get packages first, then we'll handle business. And the homies that were plugged in, that had contact with certain individuals, organization homeboys, they're like, nah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen, man. It's on site. On site, it's on site. You know what I'm saying? If you scare mofo, go to church type stuff. You know. So, man. So like I said, man. Another footnote too is the white boys, the white guys, the white brothers, man. Them dudes on B Yard were programming with the Bulldogs on B Yard. You know, and B Yard, like I said, Northerners, us, we were rushing these cats. We were rushing them. We were staying true to the code, and that's just what it was. The regular Woods, they weren't doing it. The only time the whites would take off on the Bulldogs is when a new skinhead, or other white boys that came from the upper yards came to B Yard, and they seen that the white boys were programming. They were like, what? Hell no. The white boys were going up to their cell, but like, hey, it's all good right here. Don't trip. We're programming, ain't no issues. And them dudes are like, okay, ain't no issues. What? And obviously some of them will be like, hell no. And the other dudes, like the skinheads, will be like, the ones that didn't press the issue, they already knew off the top, like, look, man, we're coming over here. These dudes are already established. They're either going to try to remove us before we handle business for going against the grain, for doing the right thing, uh, 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 or they're gonna expect us to program. So what they did was just take off the top. As soon as they got out the cell, they would lie to them, be like, "Okay, cool, man. Yeah, that's right, brother. Get off the cell." The first Bulldog they seen, they got off on them, and it was mostly the skinheads, structured individuals, And it was like I said, it was because the warden had this whole policy, man. Whoever the aggressor was, that's who was staying on lockdown. And look, man, I did a 2.5 year lockdown, man. I did almost 23 months in Corcoran, New Corcoran, down to Pleasant Valley. I did another 10 months. That shit was suffocating damn near, man. I didn't leave my cell except for like going to medical a few times for 2.5 years, guys. That's a long time. Trying to see what you're gonna do in 2.5 years from now. That's what the system used to be, man. Lockdown after lockdown, indefinitely perpetual lockdowns, warehousing of organization members, etc. And to me, it's just like, to know what the system is now to what it used to be, man. A lot of dudes got it easy in there, man. I mean, obviously, it's still cracking. I mean, it's still dangerous, but the systematic lockdowns, man, is one of the best things that could have happened as far as us staying off lockdown, man, because that shit was inhumane. It was inhumane, and things like that really make you the person that you are, and give you good ass character if you're able to sustain and manifest all that negativity into some positivity. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, I just wanted to explain that. A couple people were asking about it too. They commented on the C Yard, on the homies from C Yard, and yeah, man, they were considered no good. They were considered no good. I mean, they weren't PC or nothing, but yeah, they were programming with cats. That was, for all intents and purposes, it was a 50-50 yard, and you're not supposed to be on like CMCs, Sureños. You can't be there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the CMC is like now, but I doubt that it'll change, that it has changed. But you couldn't be there. You had to take off. These dudes were programming. We were sending palabra over there to let them know, hey, take off now, ASAP. It's on site, homie. Ain't no programming with these cats. And then eventually, the senor that put him on indefinite lockdown uh, ended up passing away, and that's a story for a different time. But he lifted the green light, and that was that. But that being said, man, my point is this. Like I always tell you, for the youngsters, the reoffenders out there, look, this is the type of stuff, man. Imagine you going to CR, you don't even know, bro. You don't even know no better. You're thinking you're doing your time, whatnot, at that point. And then you go to B yard after you get in trouble for a knife or whatnot, and then just for them to tell you like, hey, how long were you there for? Oh hell no, you got something coming, because you were misled by dudes that had the llaves that were just too scared to actually follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? Misleading people and things like that. The best thing to do is not even to getting yourself in that situation and not go to prison to begin with, because you're sitting there in the cell thinking like, am I following the rules? Are these fools telling me the truth? You don't have to worry about none of that if you never go to prison. You guys be good. One life saved is one life blessed. A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. APA, I'm outie.